What's up, YouTube? It's OP here. So let's jump into it. What are we going to cover? We're going to talk about the game plan for the deck itself, and then some of the matchups. So how does Uta win? Or what's Uta's game plan? First things first, and these are just general concepts for pretty much every deck in this game, and that's control board. So don't let your opponent's characters stay on the board unless it can't be removed. You want to chip away at your opponent's life, and you want to stay alive. So obviously, depending on the matchup, each of those things gets harder or easier, or takes different cards. And then the overall idea with the deck, and this is the game plan pretty much into every matchup, is cheat out extra characters using Brooks and 7-cost Monkey D. Luffy, which I'll show you those cards later. We're going to draw extra cards with our leader ability and Nami. And then we're going to finish games with I'm Invincible and supporting cards. Okay, so let's take a look at the deck. The board spammers, Brook and Monkey D. Luffy. So let's take a second and read Brook. On play up to one film or straw hat crew type character card with a cost of 3 or less from your hand. 5k body, 4 cost. And then our 7-drop Monkey D. Luffy. Blocker. On play up to one film or straw hat crew type character card with a cost of 4 or less from your hand. So the great thing about these cards is they get you extra value by cheating out extra characters. And you're going to want to do this to win. So let's look at the cards that you can drop off of these characters. So just to call out here, Brook is a 4-cost character. So it is one of the cards you can drop off of Luffy. And that's important in some matchups. And sometimes you just draw extra Brooks. So you'll curve out like Brook on turn 4, Luffy on when you have 7 Dawn. Okay, so here are our 3 drops. Usopp got cut off a little bit. He's a 5k body, 3-drop, no ability. We are playing him because you want to make sure you have enough 3-drops in this deck to get value off of Brook, right? The best 3-drop in this deck is Nami on the far left. On play and when attacking, you can pay 1 to look at the top 3 cards of your deck, reveal a film type card other than Nami and add it to your hand, then place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. That's huge for getting us additional card advantage. Then we've got Katakuri, which is a 4k body, but if your leader is film type, which we will be, and you have 6 or more rested cards, this character gets 2k power. So rested cards includes your leader and Dawn. So it's really easy to make Katakuri a 6k body. Then we've got Blocker Uta, which you may discard a card at the end of your turn, an event card, and then you can set one of your film type characters as active. This card's really good if you want to like swing with your 7-drop Luffy, and then you also want to block with it. It can be extra tempo. You won't use that ability a lot of the time, but it's a great option. Okay, so then let's look at the 4-drops. As mentioned, Brook can be dropped off of Monkey D. Luffy. And then we've also got Uta and Sanji. Sanji is a 2k counter, so we're not always going to want to drop it off of Luffy. But if we're trying to curve out, we might have to. And then Uta is a 6k blocker, no counter, with an activate main once per turn. You may trash one film type card, which in our version of the deck is 100% of the deck, and then give your leader or one of your characters 1 rested Dawn. So this is really great to combo with cards like Nami, where you're going to rest a Dawn to get a card in your hand. Then you can dump a card you don't need with Uta, and then put the Dawn onto like your leader to make sure you get the draw with that as well. So a fun combo is Luffy when you have your 7 Dawn turn into Uta, and then you can use Uta to discard a card you don't want and put a Dawn on leader and then draw a new card with leader ability. Uta ability, do not forget about it. It can be very powerful and it's very helpful into certain matchups. Then we have our 2k counters, Tony Chopper, Monkey D. Luffy, and Sanji. You can choose to drop either of these 2-drops on 2 if it's good in the matchup. Most of the time you're not going to. I do have a tendency to play this 2-drop Luffy because at least it's a 4K body. So with 1 Dawn investment, you'll be able to take out other 5K bodies or swing into life if you need it for the matchup. The events in the deck, you're going to see New Genesis, which is if your leader is Uta, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 film type card other than New Genesis and add it to your hand. Return the remaining cards to the bottom of your deck in any order, then set up to 1 rested on as active. So New Genesis is really great because it's a free searcher. Top 3. It can't grab itself, but it's going to help you find the cards you need. And in this deck, you always want to find your Brooks. You always want to find your Luffys. So cards like New Genesis are going to boost the consistency of your deck, meaning you're going to find those cards more often. And that's why you play cards like New Genesis and Nami. Then we've got what I call the finisher in this deck, which is I'm Invincible. So I'm Invincible, 3-drop main, set up to 1 of your leader Uta active. So with this card, you're going to get multiple swings with your leader, which a lot of decks cannot stop unless they have got something that freezes your leader, like 10-drop Doflamingo, or something that rests your leader after attacking. Actually, after activating an event, which is completely niche. I don't even think that exists. And then we've got a card to support I'm Invincible, and also a really great tempo card, which is 2-drop, 2-cost Backlight, which says if your leader is Uta, choose one of the below, rest up to 1 of your opponent's cost 5 or lower characters. So this can be good with I'm Invincible to rest down blockers to help you go for game, or you can KO up to 1 of your opponent's 5 cost or lower rested characters. So this can be a great play after your opponent has swung with characters that you can't deal with. And then we've got 2 other cards that I play in my deck, a top end and a bottom end, which we've got the top end Shanks, which on play, 9 cost, KO up to 1 of your opponent's rested characters, just a straight up removal, and it's an 11k body. An immensely powerful effect, a very large body. This guy is going to help you close out games. And then on our bottom end, we've got Gordon, a 2-drop 0k blocker, 1k counter. And then this kind of helps you out with your previous cards, your events, because they're all song cards. So you can use them with Gordon to trash them as 1k counters, because they're not counters normally. So when your opponent attacks, you may trash any number of music type cards from your hand. Your leader or 1 of your characters gains plus 1,000 power during this battle for every card trashed. And I believe that these cards might not be the most accurate translations, but it works with the song cards, even though it says music. So anyways, some cards to think about when you're building your deck. And you don't have to play 100% film. You can play other cards. It's going to decrease your consistency with leader ability and New Genesis as well as Nami. So let's look at those options again. We've got Hody Jones and Eustace Captain Kidd. I think Hody Jones is a great option if you're seeing a lot of Nami or decks that you must be aggressive into, like BY Luffy. So I think your non-film options, you can view them as tech cards. So teching them for specific matchups that you want to win into. Another card which was recommended is Eustace Captain Kidd. This is great into the decks that are trying to kind of match your tempo, like Doflamingo, and they're going to play a lot of characters. Well, Eustace Captain Kidd makes them swing into Kidd, and then you've got a lot of counter. You're running, if you're on all of the 2Ks, you're going to have 12 2K counters. And then cheating out a 3-cost, you can go all the way up to 4 of those 3-drop Uta, as well as 4 of the Gordon. And you can get, 8 potential blockers that you can drop off of that to help keep Kidd alive. And then some other options, which I think Krieg is a potentially good option if you're seeing a lot of Doflamingo. Discard a card, KO up to 2 of your opponent's rested characters with 4 or less cost, and then has double attack as well, so can provide some aggressive value as well. And then we've got Doflamingo, which I think might be a good option if you're seeing a lot of black, to lock down that board and kind of help you secure wins. Set up your I'm invincible plays, as well as giving you this 10k body. So that's the deck. I didn't give you numbers on this deck, but these are kind of core cards to the deck, and you're going to play some variation of these. I'd say that you'd see 100% of the time 4 Brook and 4 Luffy. These cards go in every deck. Some number of these cards, Usopp is optional. I don't see it very often. Some number of these 4 drops, I'd say almost all of these 2k counters. And then some people like to run these tech options. There's other options as well, but these are some of the ones that I saw that I liked. Anyways, let's get into the matchups. So our first matchup, and this is one of our harder ones, is going to be Rob Lucci / any black deck. For the most part, against black, you're going to want to deny going second. Black decks love going second. They want to see their even curve so that they can play, Gecko Moria on curve. That's the big one. Against black and Rob Lucci in general, and pretty much every matchup, you want to curve out aggressively, meaning you want to find your Brooks, you want to find your Luffys. And if you can, to go wider, you want to play your Brooks off of your Luffys. And then have a 3 cost to follow that up. That way you're developing 3 characters, which it's going to be harder for them to remove 3 characters than it is 2. And then you're going to want to see cards like Shanks on time. So when they drop 7 drop Jack, you want to remove that body immediately because it's going to be able to pop almost everything you play. Especially in combinations with cards like Ice Age. So go as wide as possible. You want to pressure life as much as possible. And you basically want to navigate the game into a state where you can I'm invincible for game. So, and this is because black plays a lot of non-counter cards. I will say it's a hard matchup. You're not always going to win this one, but you have a chance. Yeah. Okay, let's look at another deck. And Nell, this one's pretty popular right now. And we're going to deny second from Enel. We do not want them to be on that even curve. They're going to hit their 10 drops quicker that way. We want to be playing Shanks before... Well, actually, we have to wait to play Shanks. So basically, same thing. We want to maximize our leader ability in this matchup because we want to see as many cards as possible. We want to curve out aggressively, and we want to pressure life and control board with Shanks. Saving Shanks to remove a 10 cost after it's swung at you is very good. One other thing is you kind of want to counter out aggressively early because you don't want to lose your life to easy swings. You want to lose them to the big swings like 10 drop Ace, 9 drop Yamato, things like that. And then pretty much every matchup, control board, right? We talked about that in the beginning, game plan wise. And again, it's for most decks, but it's important. Another matchup that we're going to talk about is Jewelry Bonnie. Against Bonnie, you want to deny going second. They have a very strong 10 drop Doflamingo. If you can, you want to try and play around their leader ability. So if you have a character on board, sometimes it's okay just to swing leader and get your draw with leader ability to up your card advantage, even though they're going to rest down your other attacker with their leader ability. So definitely maximize card draw into this matchup. I'd counter out a little bit, actually not too aggressively. It's just you have to be mindful of cards like Hody Jones, which we showed earlier, because they can rest on your blockers and kind of kill you out of nowhere sometimes. Shanks is a very good card in this matchup because of cards like Kid, which again we showed in our options as well. And then also when they're on, like when they've seen a lot of Cavendish and Carrot, which are their 5-drops, you have cards like Backlight, as well as just like swinging into them to help control those cards, because you do not want those to stick around. They enable really disgusting plays. Okay, BY Luffy is another matchup that's kind of difficult. I think with BY Luffy, you have to play patiently. As I say here, you want to build your board first and then start going for life. So in this matchup, you can't get greedy and try and draw cards unless it's off of Nami ability, off of on-play Nami ability. And then what you want to do is play patiently, build your board, swing out, and set up an I'm Invincible for game play, where they've kind of taken their own life here and there. You can get them that way. There is a world where you're just fast enough and they don't see Gecko Moria on time, but I'd rather not take that gamble, and I'd just build my board out, wait, don't swing into them, let them take their own life, and set up an I'm Invincible Backlight for game. Shanks is not very good in this matchup because of cards like Black Sabo. He's going to make the board immune to KO effects. So some things to remember there. Doflamingo, this matchup is very fun. It's a long, grindy game. You have to fight for board 100% of the time. You want to deny going first because you don't want them to get their leader ability. Backlight is crazy because you're going to remove something for 2 Dawn. And then you have to avoid going to 0 life. I know this kind of is a no-brainer, but it's because of cards like Perfume Femur. Like, yes, you have blockers, but blockers are irrelevant into a card like Perfume Femur that stops your blockers from being able to block. This is a straightforward matchup. Yeah. Then we've got Katakuri. Katakuri, you want to deny going second. They obviously are trying to play cards like Charlotte Linlin on 10. And basically, in lieu of Charlotte Linlin, you want to preserve life as much as possible early and only really lose it to cards like Linlin or like big swings like Ace. So you want to manage the board, don't lose too much life early, and then kind of execute your original game plan of developing a wide board and going I'm Invincible. I know this is kind of very repetitive, but like the matchups and the idea for this deck, it is important. So it's worth kind of thinking about these. And, if you have played the matchup and you feel differently, definitely let me know in the comment section. The next matchup that we're going to talk about is Nami. This is a hard match. There's just nothing you can do sometimes when they find enough triggers in life and just hit a million peel-offs, So against Nami, you want to deny going second. That's an extra draw for them, right? Also, you get an extra swing by going first. And then you need to find your Brooks and Luffy's on curve. Otherwise, they are too fast. And then when you've built out your board, what you do is you swing 7s. And then if they white snake, which gives their leader a permanent 1k buff for the turn, permanent and for the turn, that's contradiction. But anyways, you're going to start swinging 6ks and 8s. And then your ideal 4-drop on board is Uta, because you can discard a card to put one of your Dawn back onto one of your characters. So it's going to let you be a little more effective. And then your ideal 3-drop is Katakuri, because Katakuri can be a 6k body if you got 6 rested cards, which is relevant. It saves you Dawn and it helps you swing more efficiently. And then the other thing, and this is pretty much how you want to win all of your games, but you want to set up I'm Invincible for game. This matchup is very hard. Try to be, clever about it. Swing good breakpoints, and you should have a chance. And then here we go. Purple Luffy. I believe this is our last one. You want to deny going first against Purple Luffy because they have a really sick curve because they can ramp using their own life. So on their second turn, if they're going first, they're going to play 4-drop Zoro. And then on their third turn, they're going to go ramp again and drop Luffy into Sanji and have a massive, huge board that's going to be very difficult to deal with. Yes, they're going to be at 3 life at that point, but they're going to come back pretty strong. You need to be worried about 9-cost Kaido. It has Rush, and it's going to pop one of your characters. And then Backlight is really good in this matchup too, because you're going to be able to pop key cards like Sanji or Sanjoro, which is one of their card advantage engines. And then another thing, which I didn't list, is don't forget to play around 4-drop Law. So keep your hand size under 7 if you can. And yeah, let's end with some tips. You draw a lot of cards with your leader, and you're going to do that throughout the entire game. So over the entire game, you're going to end up drawing a lot more cards than your opponent, unless they have a similar ability. So don't be afraid to counter. You want to keep your life high because you're, like my second point here, you have a lot of non-counter in the deck. So let's take the life against big attacks that we weren't going to be able to counter out of anyways, and let's not take the attacks we could counter out of, if that makes any sense. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this was helpful to any beginners out there. Subscribe if you want to see more, and yeah, that's it. Thanks. All right, so we couldn't end without playing at least one game. And we're playing into our worst matchup, probably. But let's see how it goes. We've actually got a decent hand, so we're going to keep. We're at least seeing one Luffy. And hopefully this new Genesis is going to help us find Brook. We've got a 3-drop Katakuri, so we're going to be able to curve out a little bit. Yeah, this looks fine. He is starting off ideal. He's into Spandam. And he whiffs, but he does get 2 key cards into the bin. So actually it wasn't really a whiff. Okay, so here we've got nothing to do. We're going to pass. We don't need to play New Genesis yet. We don't need counter. We don't need anything quite yet. We want to find Brook, but we can wait one more turn to play it because it is free. Yeah, so he's going to do the classic 5 and 5. And we're going to want to counter out of one of these. So let's counter. And let this one hit. Okay, we do find a Shanks, which is going to be huge later. And what we're going to do is we're going to remove this Spandam and develop a Katakuri. Okay, we're still holding off on this new Genesis. Again, we've got counter, we've got everything. We just need to find a Brook this next turn. So we're going to play it next turn. Okay, he's going to swing 5. Let's see. Man, this Luffy is definitely going to pop one of our characters. Okay, we'll counter out of this. We don't want to go too low, too early. And I don't see me playing that card quite yet. All right, so we got to find a Brook here. We don't. but Uta's going to be a good play here. Yeah, so let's start off with swing 7. Find another Uta. It's a little bit unfortunate because look how much non-counter we have. As I mentioned, this is a problem with the deck, is you play a lot of non-counter. And then look at this, we've got 4 arrested Don, arrested leader. Katakuri counts himself, so this is going to be 6. Okay, counter's out, we're going to pass. He's on his 7 Don turn. Scariest card here is Jack. And we absolutely need to remove this Luffy. If we can. So his first play should be swing with Lucci, and then minus this Katakuri. Then he can swing with this Luffy. Okay, so he's cycling. He got rid of Kaido, Lucci. Okay, well, this is actually terrible. Oh, this is so bad. So he's going to remove our board. We are going to 2K out of this. And then we've got Luffy Uta. We're going to take this one. Okay, we've got Luffy, Brook, Katakuri. But it really depends on if we're able to remove this Luffy or not. So let's see. He protects it, so I'm actually going to backlight it. And then let's dig for a Nami. Okay, we found it. Because we can Brook Nami. Use Nami ability to find. Too bad we can't get another Nami. But we find an Usopp. Okay, so we have a board. We're at 3 life. He's down to 2 cards. We're not out of it. And he is on a weird, like, unconventional build of Lucci, but still Lucci. He could drop Gecko here, and we're not out of anything yet. Yep, so he's going to swing. It's fine. I'm just going to counter out. I will use Katakuri here. Sabo's pretty unfortunate. But actually it's really not that bad. So I am going to go 7-4 here. And then 3. And then we're going to use Uta ability. Dump a Shanks. Swing 6 here. Draw that. Okay. So we develop a board. We're going to draw a lot of cards. This is a close game. Pretty sure next turn if he swings Sabo, we're going to take it. Try and block out of his other attacks. And then Shanks this Sabo. And hopefully still have 2 life. Worst card here. is probably a Sabo. The 5-drop Sabo. Kuzan's a little scary. Yeah, he's got a lot of good cards that he could play, so. We saw he's on Kaido too. Kaido would suck. So he's going to swing 7. I'm going to block in 1K. Okay, he geckoed. He's going to be able to pop Katakuri. And then I actually imagine he's going to swing Sabo into Luffy. He goes face, which I'm so happy about. Okay. Yeah, so he just shanks that. So I do feel like I should leave up both of my blockers. Because I'm gonna have to use one to block one of these. So yeah, I'm gonna pass here. If he swings 5, I'm gonna get value here. Swings 7. I guess I just 2K 1K. Yeah. I just really don't want to go to 0. Okay, so if I take this one. Okay, well now I have to block both of these. Yeah, so we're just going to clear his board. And it's fine if we go to 0. Oh, I should have played New Genesis and looked for a 2K. And he has another gecko. It's pretty unfortunate. There's not a ton you can do about that. Oh gosh. Okay, so we're definitely going to 0. Ah, okay. Yep, so let's take a peek. Definitely pick up one of our 2K counters. Okay, so if we go 7-4-3, 7-4-3, we dump I'm Invincible and try and find one on a different turn. Okay. Okay, so we have 2 blockers, he has 2 attackers. We've got 3K counter. I guess any removal we lose. If he ever swings poorly, we win. Oh, this is such a close match. Okay. Okay, so he swings 12, which we have to block. Yeah, so he just does 12 and 12. Which we also block that. Okay, so we find a 2K. Actually, I mean, do we go for game? I don't think we go for game. I'm going to grab a 2K. Let's go 13. Two K, 1K. He lets it go. That's huge. Okay, we find a second blocker. And then we swing Uta. We don't care if he uses a trigger on Nami. Yep. 5 into lead. And then we double blocker. Okay. Unfortunately, we've put an I'm Invincible to the bottom. Maybe 2. No, we've put 1 I'm Invincible to the bottom and 1 is right there. Oh, this is scary. I think he'd have to play his 4th Gecko. I think we can swing 11 4 times next turn. Spandine into what? Kaku? Okay. Suru. Lucci? Swing 7? It's not enough. I have a counter in my hand. Got him. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Because so 7 is enough here. $11 is enough, and then the rest is going on Shanks for game. GG, my friend. GG. What a game. Well, hopefully that was a good showcase for Uta. Let me know how Uta treats you. Till next time. Peace.